Well, well, well. It is a tarot night indeed. And tonight, I'm going to do something wild, totally crazy and shocking and horrifically surprising. And that's going to be to do some readings with this, the Rider-Waite Smith deck, produced by Americans in 1909. The Golden Dawn. This is a sort of smoothed out version of it. I sort of liked it because it sort of makes the drawings a little bit more funny how it kind of looks almost like a little bit of crayon in there, but they smooth the lines out in this one. So, and I just sort of like the way they did it. Somebody did it very tastefully. I sort of don't actually like the straight up Rider Smith Waite deck. I'm still eating. I'm still eating my delicious. I can't help it. I had to do a bunch of stuff today. So I was ordering dinner like a half an hour before stream time. And I've been working on my lights. Up there, you can see in my glasses, there's a ring light now. See that? There's two rings in my glasses. That's a ring light right there. All that bright light right there coming from that. And I can adjust it. And I can put the camera. I didn't have time to set it up the way it should be. Excuse me. The light arrived just an hour ago. So I just threw it up there on its pole thing. But there's a fitting in the middle of the ring where you can put a camera hole. You can put a camera. It has a tripod mount in the actual light. And so you can screw the camera onto it, and then your camera can be right in the middle of your ring light. Right now, my camera's below, and I'm using a webcam, a Logitech Brio. It is, Logitech Brio. It's a good webcam streaming camera, but if you want to get really good with this stuff for like really crystal clear videos to have on YouTube, you want to use like a mirrorless digital camera. And now I have a DSLR camera I could put in there, but it's big and clunky and it's a mirrored camera. It's like literally 15 years old already. So I don't know. There are good cameras for this purpose. This camera I have is fine, but it's mainly intended for web video calls, really. But I did buy it last year because it was considered a good streamer's camera. So maybe it's not. I mean, maybe it's fine. I just don't know yet. Oh. Hi, Risa. Yeah, I'm having a good night. I was a little rushed. Yeah. Oh, cool, man. Because I actually am thinking this light's really nice. The only problem is if you wear glasses and you look up, you get sort of a double whammy reflection. You get a small version of the ring and then a big version of the ring in the glasses. and so, like, here, look, I'll show here the full scene. So, if I see that, so I can look up and it's like I'm a raccoon face, but it's good. It's good light, and I think if I maybe put it up a little higher, because I can go a couple feet more, it'll actually stop. You know, I won't get this. So. Yeah, Risika, what I found with my Logitech, I was playing with it today. It's a Logitech Brio. It's probably very similar to yours. I found that if you sort of put your face like right here and you bring up the camera adjustment little thing, the little gray box with all the adjustments, and you go to the focus one and you leave autofocus on and let it autofocus. And as long as you have a good amount of light, you can do this. Then turn autofocus off and press the apply button. And the focus should stay real sharp right at this distance. But it'll also be sharp even if you move back, because you've got enough light. So the depth of field of focus should be pretty good. It should be like from here, back. Because look, you can see my chair is still in focus, and my face should still be in focus, and it's on a frozen set focus plane. So the camera doesn't do that weird shifting, hunting around for the focus. That's what I sort of discovered messing around today. May help. Yeah, try and just lock the focus in. And also lock the exposure. Go to the exposure setting. Don't let it do auto. Bring it down so that the image, and put your bright light on. Okay, get your bright lights on, all of your lights, so it's actually really lit the way it will be. Then go to the exposure setting with the camera and drag the exposure down until the image is just one notch too dark. And then leave it there, apply it, and then go back to the other little camera setting pane where it has the gain. There's something called gain, usually down at the bottom, and slide that gain up a little bit until your image brightens up where you want it to be. So what happens there when you do that is by putting the exposure a little too low, you actually increase the quality overall of the image and give yourself a bigger depth of field, and you lose that motion blur. When you move, it doesn't look weird. So you bring the exposure down a little too low, but you pump the gain up to compensate for that, to bring you back up to where your lights should have you, And then you apply all that, and then the only reason the only catch is if you unplug your camera, and then you'll probably have to go back and do these settings again, because I think it usually goes back to auto if the camera is like re-plugged in or something. So these are little tricks. And this trick with the exposure, I actually saw on a YouTube video. A guy was recommending that thing with the exposure and the gain. I can't believe I'm eating while streaming. Good grief. You're not supposed to talk with your mouth full. So anyway, what I was going to do is stop talking about video, and you tend to turn off the USB port. You're paranoid about someone hijacking your camera. Oh, you have like privacy concerns. I see. Yeah. I know what you mean. Well, your camera has a light on it. And I know there's some like weird, I know some like hackers know how to make the light not go on if they hijack a camera. I know that. I've heard of that. You know, you know what you do? Do this. Does your camera, if it's a Logitech, it probably has that little cover. When you're not using it, just flip the cover down so the screen is black. And then you really don't have to worry unless you're worried about the microphone. What's the other? What else? I mean, you could. Oh, you don't see a cover? Well, then just use a piece of cloth. Use a piece of cloth, or a sock. Just drape it over the camera. Like, you know. But this one, the Brio, comes with a little flip cover that you can just move up and down. A sticky note, yeah, well, anything. Yeah, because a lot of people have that. A lot of people just with laptops, even with like Macs and stuff, they put tape over the camera. I mean, if you're not using your camera a lot, who cares? Why not? Maybe I should worry more about that stuff. So, what sort of caught my eye is I decided I'm going to make a YouTube video, and it's simply going to be a real simple sort of taking you through the tarot so that you know how to read it, giving you all the card meanings, and just do it very clearly and concisely. And I think I'll use the Rider-Waite because the Rider-Waite is really the most common deck people use. And so they probably, everyone who wants to do tarot probably starts there and they want to know the meanings for that deck. So I'm looking for the Five of Pentacles card in my Tarot de Marseille. Of course, looking for cards is just a pain because you have to shuffle through the whole deck. Invariably. Oh, here we go. So, yeah, the idea I'm trying to get at is this. This here. There's, two drastically different a raider. Okay, so I don't know anything about raids, but thank you from Raider. So how do I tell who raided? Oh, Reptar, thank you. You're the raider, so thank you so much. I'm really new to this, honestly, and I appreciate it. And what I'm doing here right now, just so the raiders coming on board from the pirate ship, they understand, is I'm looking at the Rider-Waite deck here on the right, on the left, and comparing that to the deck I normally use, which is the Tarot de Marseille, the very old deck. And there's a lot of correspondence between its major arcana cards and the Rider-Waite major. But when you get into the numbers, the Tarot de Marseille gets very abstracted, as you can see. So these are both Five of Pentacles cards. And if you were to look at a new reader coming to the Rider-Waite deck would still want to know and maybe look up the meaning. But they might get more of a sense from this illustration of what's going on. You've got two sort of downtrodden people. They're out in the cold. They're kind of outside. They're outside looking in. They're feeling sort of like they're cast out. But the fact is, as they pass by this window radiating with the warmth of the message of the Five of Pentacles, there is that hope just above, just within reach. And if they can just somehow find their way in, they might be able to access whatever it is they are feeling remote from. So it's a card of remoteness, difficulty. Look, the boy here is hi, Angelic. The boy is looking, or the man is injured, and he's on crutches, and they're cold, and they don't have the right attire for the weather, so they're in difficulty, and they're not where they want to be. They're out of their element. They're literally out in the elements. It's a card about hardship. Now, where does this link to the same card in the Tarot de Marseille? Well, it does actually, because the Tarot de Marseille, you have to lean on to numerology in order to interpret the number cards. And the 5 is always a number that involves some kind of a disruption, an influence that's new and unexpected, and it kind of throws you off your game, and it can be extremely upsetting. But as upsetting as it is, it can also be an incredible igniter for new possibilities, new ways of looking at the problem you're stuck in, perhaps. A whole new shocking sort of development arises in the 5. Now, that's not so far off from what we're seeing in a maybe more subtle, hinted way with the Rider Waite, that something has upset the lives of these two people, and they have been pushed out of their comfort zone. They're out in an uncomfortable situation here. That's being presented by this card very, very viscerally. You can sort of feel their anguish, essentially, just by looking at it. Well, that's same idea is here numerologically in the 5 with the Tarot of Marseille, because it's about disruption, and it's about something new has burst the safety of the 4 that came just prior. The 4 is that stability and safety and security, and now it's gone. The 4 walls have just crumbled down, and you're out in the cold now, but there's this glowing ember in the middle of where you used to be, or in your vision, your mind, that has, this is something that maybe I could seize on as a possibility. And that's all there in this card. So there are correspondences, and I've found that the more I sort of play around with both decks, thinking this way, those linkages start to make more and more sense. So I kind of wanted to look at that. And then I thought I would do the readings tonight with the Rider Waite, not the Tarot of Marseille, because I do them normally in the Tarot de Marseille, and I think a lot of people enjoy those readings. But I also think that sometimes they are a little bit at a loss for understanding exactly where I'm coming from with some of the number cards, and they just trust that I'm telling them something that's true, but they don't have anything. They don't have their own knowledge of those cards to sort of confirm their trust. But whereas with the Rider Waite, I think a lot more people, even if they're not readers, they have a familiarity with some of the meanings, and so they can go, oh yeah, I know, that's right, I've heard that before. So that's an interesting aspect. Yeah, I'm going to open the queue. I don't want to forget to open the queue, so that there we go. Okay, the queue should be open, and let me look at what. Okay, so I see our. Wow, this is so cool. Reptar brought people in, and it's really nice to see people come in because with tarot, when people are coming from another tarot stream, they're into tarot. They're like really interested, and you can't always find people that are familiar with the tarot. It's still it's a more unusual kind of an interest or what do you call it? A practice or spiritual practice. It's a little bit more uncommon still. So it's really nice to see people come by. Rizika's got nuggets in the air fryer. Okay, I am hearing about air fryers. I got to say, just to switch subjects a little bit, I am being told by family members that air fryers are the most amazing invention in the history of Earth, that I have to get one. And if I don't even know what it is that I'm missing. So I'm kind of interested in this air fryer thing. 7 years ago. Okay, so yeah, because what I'm told is you can like put chickpeas in there and make them crunchy and spice them up, and you can put like shrimp in there, and you just put stuff in there and it just makes it crispy. So where my brain goes is this is perfect for snacks. You can make like awesome snacks, like when you're watching movies and stuff. You have a bunch of like crunchy stuff. That I should just go look for one of those. Because man, if you give me something crunchy to eat as a snack, and I'm watching a movie or some endless show on Netflix, I will sit there and crunch those damn things for hours straight. I will not stop. And if I have my own supply from an air fryer I can make, it's going to be, well, I'm just going to sit on the sofa for 6 days, basically. Yeah. Okay. So shrimp, salmon, waffle, pizza. Good grief. Yep. Oh yeah, and so the book that came with your deck, you're saying has some history of tarot. Yeah, and I'm doing. I keep mentioning this, and because I'm working on a deck. I'm not showing it though. I'm not going to show the darn thing until I'm going to just use it one day arbitrarily, and not even say anything about it. I'm just going to start using it and see if anyone even notices. They're going to be like, "What the hell? What is that? That's not a tarot deck. What is that?" And but the book. You said it has a book with a little history. I kind of want the little book to be sort of, kind of a little on the sort of cheerful, slightly funny, humorous side, not silly or anything, but just have a nice quality of like, hey, it's really fun to learn tarot. It's not like a huge, don't freak out about it. Just have a lot of fun with tarot when you learn it with this deck. And just put that kind of feeling in the little booklet. That's sort of what I'm planning to do. And I've started. So I have the deck. It's all exists, and I'm sort of slowly preparing with the printing company to get the like box done properly and everything. And I'm also laying out the little booklet. I'm just going through because I'm still putting my meanings in, and being very short. Like each meaning for each card, just like 4 or 5 descriptive words, and then 4 or 5 reversed words for each card, right through all of the suits, And like you said, just a little, like cheerful little thing at the beginning about a little bit of like where the tarot came from and its mystery, but on a sort of like a, hey, this is really fun kind of a level. Not trying to be too serious, like, ooh, the tarot and its deep connection to the undersoul of the blah, not like that. A little bit more fun. I have an array of things here. I have my dinner over here to my left. I have coffee, which is critical. And I have sparkling water, all set to go. Now, the next thing to do is to say, let's put the Tarot of Marseille aside. I'm jumping into the deep end of the pool. We'll see how I tread water in the deep end of the tarot pool with the Rider Waite deck. I got to tell you, I rarely do readings with Rider Waite. And it's simply because I put so much work into learning the Tarot de Marseille for specific reasons, building an app that runs the Tarot of Marseille. And I had to learn so much about that deck that it took my concentration. So let me just quickly, I'm going to just pop a 3-card reading right off the top of the deck after cutting it a bit. And I'm doing what I call, rather obnoxiously, my mountain peak spread. And so it's a mountain peak, obviously, but so you can see the center card is the summit of the great Mount Everest we are climbing. And it becomes the main focal point. And I have an Ace of Swords reversed. So, this corresponds without any effort whatsoever with the Tarot de Marseille. Now, a reversed Ace of Swords, you're kind of, you're sort of at this point a little bit at a loss for being able to make any sense out of anything in this current situation or time. You're sort of stuck. You just don't feel like you have it in you to figure out what the hell you're supposed to be doing or what somebody might be meaning. You're just tired of it. You just don't feel that encouragement to go back and forth and engage and use your intellect and solve problems and win arguments. You just don't have the energy at this point. Something's got you a little bit reserved and boxed in mentally and in your ability to communicate with people. It's a little shut down right now. You're not feeling it. That's what that reversed Ace of Swords is conveying. And it's saying in this reading, because it's at the top, that this is the primary concern. Now, over here, what I tend to do is I say the left foundation of the mountain is a kind of more unconscious suggestion. Okay, 8 of Swords on the unconscious, the Star on the conscious, and they're all reversed. So 8 of Swords, and we're gonna take the reversal to be just that. 8 of Swords in this Rider Waite kind of implies you're kind of, look, she's bound, she's locked up, she's stuck, she's blindfolded. She's not really able to see the true extent of the situation. She's not seeing it. And this is in keeping with the Ace, the lack of energy. However, it's reversed. So we can take that to mean that unconsciously we have a great urge, and we may be unaware of it, to break out and to actually get back into the game. We want to open up our view. Look at she's got a landscape that's all around her here. There's a castle there up on a cliff. If she was just able to make a few small adjustments and turn around and look and see the broader view, she might be able to make sense of her situation a little bit better. But she's so stuck in kind of repeating thoughts. And remember, numerology applies here, even with the Rider Waite, because the 8 has that element of seeking perfection and balance in things and applying one's efforts very, very strenuously to the achievement of perfection and all of the infinite possibility there. When it begins to get shut down, as it is in the Rider Waite deck, they're talking about, in this version of the 8, a dimming of one's prospects. So the balance of the 8 is shifting to the wrong side. It's wobbling, and the person's not able to fully engage and seek the perfection they are after. But the reversal that we're dealing with here means that we have an unconscious instinct and the capability to break out of this gravitational pull down into ourselves, okay? Being locked into ourselves and blind to what the heck is obvious around us. We're trying to get past that, but we don't even realize we're trying to yet. It's probably in our dreams, kind of. Now, consciously, the star. Okay, star is all about guiding and using that guidance for oneself, but also accepting the guidance and letting it flow through us and sharing that guidance with, the rest of the world, people around us, the people that we love, that we know. It's about a sort of being a conduit, and you take what you've learned, what you've achieved, what you've received, the inspiration you've received, and the star card makes it sort of the impression that it's coming from the star above, But it's any kind of inspiring energy that you feel sort of like you've received. It's not yours. It doesn't belong to you. That energy moves through you. That's why she is pouring it out with both hands. In other words, she's pouring as much of it out as fast as she can into the water of life, of the world, giving it to others. She's not holding it for herself. Now, the reversal, of course, in what we've done here, is showing us that this blockage we're dealing with has to be overcome so that we can function properly as a conduit to share and create the generosity that is really something we consciously seek, because it's here in the conscious position of my reading. It is something we know that we must get to. We understand it, even though we're not able yet to do it. The unconscious drive to be able to observe beyond just our own selfish concerns here and unbind ourselves so that we can, in fact, become the conduit and share what we know, and to free ourselves from this kind of mind-locking situation we've been in. And this is a situation that people often find themselves in, especially people that deal with any sort of creative medium. Anyone that works as an artist in any capacity is very familiar with this kind of brain lock. It happens all the time, almost on a weekly basis, and they have to be able to overcome it one way or another in order to make their thing. So here I am doing a reading with the Rider Waite, and I'm dealing here with 2 of the number cards, and they're fine. And I'm in other words, fine in the sense that I find the correspondences with the various number cards more abstract of the Tarot of Marseille, which is, you can't do Tarot of Marseille unless you fall back onto numerology. And it's got to be a numerology that you have some consistency with, because what about the 5 of Cups? What do you do with that? If you, in this, you have 5 cups there, what do What do you say about that? Well, the 5 is inherently about a disruptive influence, which can just as easily happen in the domain of the heart and your feelings. Something can disrupt you and you can be, just bust you up and leave you devastated. And yet, that 5 always has the silver lining of new possibility, disruption for positive gain, ultimately, if you're willing to learn. The 8 has always that possibility of finding perfect balance, symmetry, success, overjoyed in your success, your abilities, your skills, the application of who you are and what you know to things, and to reap the rewards. That 8, that's all in the 8. And now the Rider-Waite here, though, even when it's right side up, is looking at the 8 and saying, actually, you haven't reached that balance. The balance, you're having trouble reaching the balance. We'll wait for that balance in another card, is what Rider-Waite does. We'll get to that. But for now, in the 8, we're actually looking at a rather shut down set of possibilities for this person. But a reversal can very well, what many readers do with the Rider-Waite is they say, well, no, the reversal then means actually the blindfold's off, that the person is looking around. But what I say in my reading, because of how I structure this spread, this being an unconscious influence, the idea it gives me is more along the lines of we unconsciously know how to free ourselves, and that's why the card is reversed. Hi, Jojo. Monopoly. Yes. I see. You are trying to join the queue. Hold on. Okay, I'm picking you. You are next, Jojo. I'll do a reading. Yeah, numerology is great because once you come down somewhere in numerology with that system that makes sense to you and that you can rely on, and then you have an enormous amount you can do with a deck like this one, the Tarot of Marseille. It gives you enormous freedom if you can call upon the numbers. I find. But it takes a while to decide, because numerology, you start reading about it and you find varying descriptions of things. Sometimes they're sort of similar, but then they'll throw a curveball into their explanation, and it sort of makes you go like, wait a minute, how can that be right? That doesn't agree with the last book I read. So what has to happen there is you have to synthesize various sources over and over again until you realize that you've actually picked something that you keep on gravitating to, and that's the meaning that really resonates with you for your readings. And that's a huge thing to do. Now, let's talk about your topic that you want a reading for. So you pick and tell me what it is. I'm going to start shuffling up these cards, and I'm going to try to make a big mess out of these cards. And general reading for the month of July. Okay, I kind of like July. Let's see what they tell us. I'm finagling and I'm flipping, and I'm going to do my poker shuffle. All right. We have 3 forming our mountain. Hi, Meridot. Okay, Jojo. Let's start with our summit peak, high point of the reading, the primary signal being radiated through the night that we need to really think about. And we were just talking about the 8, but now we have the 8 of coins or pentacles. The 8 again, if you go with numerology, that application of oneself toward perfection and balance, beauty, well, what we see here is the effort, the skill being applied. And it's the realm of practical matters, coins, pentacles, money, sustenance, health, the body, all things physical, malleable, touchable, holdable, all that we need in life, all that we stock our homes with, all that we go to work in order to gain, in order to have sustain our family, our home. Everything that we need is in the coins. And you see someone diligently at work, a skilled craftsman, doing their work, fully concentrated and engaged. This is the high point of this reading for July. What it indicates is your work, your skill, all that you've applied yourself to recognize it, to keep it in the forefront of your vision. July is often a vacation time for people. The card isn't necessarily telling you to put your nose to the grindstone and work all through the month of July. It can just as well be saying you've worked so hard, you're so good at the things you do, the effort you put in to everything that you do. Appreciate that. Acknowledge it. Allow yourself to enjoy that. If you're going to go on vacation and take a July, even if it's just a weekend, whatever it is, the idea here is that you have earned it and that you can be comfortable with everything you've done because you have actually managed to apply yourself very well in whatever it is you've been doing or are going to be doing. You are approaching it with a seriousness and truly applying your entire self to this. It's this worker here is working on things that need making in order to help make a living. And he's able to put his entire self into it, which is called, getting into the flow. It's like when those work days happen, when you're doing a job that you really are interested in, you're really doing what you're meant to do, the time goes like this. It just sort of pop, 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 and then you're tired at the end of the day, and you have earned your rest. That's what this card is talking about for the month of July. Now, unconscious levels here. The Knight of Swords, conscious level. 3 of Pentacles, reversed. Okay, first of all, unconscious, Knight of Swords. Knights go into action. Knights engage, and they don't hesitate. They engage enthusiastically. They can cut right to the heart of any matter and be very, very succinct. They can be almost abrupt, but they don't take any nonsense, okay? So unconsciously, there's some sort of a hint here for July that probably something having to do with your skills and your work and all that you apply yourself so much to, that getting to the heart of some issue, something that may be in conflict with you, perhaps prior to this point, something you have had to deal with, may require, hard decision, making, taking responsibility to make tough decisions without doubt. Knights do not express doubt and hesitation. They don't beat around the bush. They just go wham, and it's done. And this is the unconscious drive here for July. So there's something that needs attention, and it needs to be cut swiftly. And maybe that's because in order to free yourself in some way to enjoy the month of July, maybe this needs to be dealt with. Something to keep in mind. Dealing with things swiftly and without hemming and hawing and a bunch of fuzziness, because people don't respond well to that. Sometimes people need, especially at work, they need a decision, flat, bang, one way or the other. If you go like this and sort of shuffle around, you lose them. So that's something to keep in mind. But this is, of course, the unconscious hint. This is what your unconscious mind is sort of telling you. And now, of course, we're bringing it into the open a little bit. So now, on the conscious side, something more visible is that the three is always a number of action. Now, what you have in the 3 with the Rider Waite is kind of a, you're doing the action, you're doing something very much like what this man is doing, this person is doing, concentrating and working, except that here the work has been interrupted. And there's a pause in the work. There's communication going on. There's a transfer of information. Now, this may be that these people are giving information to the artisan so that he knows what to chisel into the wall. So there is the basic underlying aspect of communication and engagement with others while putting plans into effect, taking action on plans and engaging and interacting and working and sort of synchronizing with others. This is reversed. So it's suggesting that perhaps this to some extent be avoided. It's suggesting that this is not happening in July, that it's not the time to take physical action. It could be that the cards really are hinting at you've done what you need to do, you've worked really hard, make a decision that is final, and try to enjoy some time in this July without feeling obligated to taking instructions and working as a team and getting things done. Maybe there is a sense of it's time to rest a little bit here. That's kind of that's the tone I'm getting from this. Because the primary point here is that this is what you can rely on. This is something you have. This is not an instruction for you to do. The instructions are here. This is an element of you. This is something that is highly, highly obvious and visible about you and July. So I think it's suggesting rest in some area, and that's for you to figure out where that is. So, Jojo, if that maybe finds some place in your probably a wide array of various things that you have going on, as everybody does. You know, it might be of some use. In fact, I have to say, oh, you are? Because I was just going to say, I don't have a vacation yet set up for July or even August, and I kind of want to do one. So I was going to say I really need to listen to this reading. This should all apply. I think I can share this reading with you and take it. I can use this. But if you have vacations, then clearly, yeah, take the vacations and enjoy the hell out of the month. I think the tarot just gave you a license to do that. So, and I see Miradot. Oh, I picked you, Miradot. You are. I think I got you in there, right? Yeah. You have joined the queue at position number 1. Okay. Hold on. Let me just hang on a sec. There. You're next, Miradot. Go have fun, Jojo, in July. It's starting, in just a couple days now. Wow, there you go. One starting this weekend, then every weekend after that. I gotta at least go to a beach somewhere, man. I'm gonna go to a beach. That's what I'm just gonna go to a beach just for one afternoon, and then I'll at least be able to claim that I had something for a vacation. My new lights. Actually, this light is good. The primary reason it's good is because I don't feel any heat coming from it. And that's really a good thing, I think. Yeah, I got a light today because I realized that my stream was looking like mud. I was like, what? Nobody's going to watch. They're not going to watch it if there's no light. Who am I? Anyway, so I got a light, and it's not hot. That's so great. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm in California. The beaches here are like nobody's business. And I have a motorcycle too. And the best thing is to get on the damn motorcycle and go to the beach. I'm telling you, man, there's nothing better. Just put a couple things in a backpack. You go to the beach, park the motorcycle there near whatever. They have little parking lots where, those tickets come out, and the parking lots are like right there at the beach. So you as soon as you step out of the parking lot, you're on the sand. The beaches here are like really wide. So it's like sometimes like a mile you're walking like from where you across the sand to get to where the water is. Yeah. Yeah, Jojo, me too. I'm in SoCal. And the beaches are, I mean, it's like we've got skiing we can drive 3 hours to be skiing, and then we've got the beaches. It's crazy. It's just insane. All right, so I'm waiting. Miradot, where are you? You're up. Are you still there? Are you with us? Sometimes when people get in the queue, they and I'm doing a reading for someone else, they go off somewhere to do something else, and then they'll come back like 20 minutes later. So if Miradot, if you're not there, I will, I'll put Risika in. Oh, shoot, Miradot, you are there. Okay, hang on, Risika. Miradot's here. Okay, Miradot, it's your turn. Yeah, that's what I figured. This week, 29th, that includes July 4th. To make it abundant. Abundant. Let's see. Abundance in July. Let's see what this fancy writer Waite has to say. Wow, these cards are like slippery. All right. Okay, Miradot. We're talking abundance. 3 cards right off the top. All right. So, in keeping with our reversals tonight of the Rider Waite, the first character who pops out at us is the Hierophant, otherwise known as the High Priest. Okay. Tradition, learning. And what the card is saying right off the top of my head, the most blunt sort of message is, don't let anyone convince you of something. Don't let anyone convince you of something. If someone's trying to convince you to do something or do it their way, be cautious about listening to that. The reversal here is suggesting that there might be a problem with following your own instincts, that may be critical at this point. The Hierophant as a teacher it's problematic because it implies someone with profound influence over you. And it can become excessive, and we can become sort of tied to someone else's point of view, to what they need. This card is hinting that you may have to break with things that are habitual, that you're used to. This could be family, it could be work, but there's some influence that has an aspect of rigidity to it and has sort of been there, and maybe others pay a lot of heed to it, but there's a suggestion here that you maybe want to look elsewhere, at least for the time being. You're talking about a short frame of time here, this July thing. So it's not a huge critical issue. It's just something you may need to kind of just think about what it is you want right now. Now, the unconscious. Okay. 7. Pentacles. Physical. Is 7. Look what we're seeing here. Someone here is rather pleased with what they've accomplished. They've grown things. They've made something that they can rely on that's going to help sustain them and make them comfortable. Okay? And there's an unconscious nervousness about not being able to perhaps apply yourself to what you need to be doing. And the hint here is, don't let that stop you. Perhaps if you take the advice here of following your own impulses for a while, you'll be able to dislodge whatever it is here that may have been slowing you down in, planting your crop and watching it successfully grow and enjoying the harvest of that. And this isn't a big deal. It's a number card. So that means it's a ever shifting sort of up and down thing. And it's not going to be difficult for you to overcome whatever sort of slowdown there has been, probably associated with applying yourself fully to something you love to do in order to make it grow and to please you. So listening to your own instincts for the time being is probably the solution here. Now, over here, you have another coins card, another pentacle connecting, and it's the Knight, and he is reinforcing basically the same message, but in a slightly more significant way as a court card. And the Knights, of course, he or she goes and takes what they need or does whatever is required in order to bring the bacon home, right? They go out for the hunt. They bring home the deer. The family is fed for the next month and a half, okay? That's what the Knight does, and he does it without ambiguity. He just does it. It's their duty. He's very able to keep his focus on what's required. He's looking at the coin, and he's got that symbolically right there as he's in front of him, almost like, a GPS unit. and so he's able to keep his focus. It's reversed. So the conscious advice going on here is, beware of moving suddenly. Beware of being the Knight right now. Take it slow. A gentler approach is what's required. The main thing to do is see where you are being restricted by possibly some influence that you're not comfortable with anymore, and how you can free yourself from that and follow your own instincts. And these things will be resolved. You'll be able to do what it is you want to do and apply yourself and enjoy your accomplishments in these two areas successfully. So it's really not talking about taking a vacation. It's talking more about something to do with how you follow your path and do what it is you do to make a living, to make yourself comfortable. Family stress has been taking a toll on you. It's been hindering you from taking authentic action, especially work-wise. Working on own... Okay. I think what you're doing there is you're finding a place to nail this reading to the right part of the wall so that it has a register with you and can do something for you. That's what tarot is. Tarot doesn't jump and say, here's how you do it. What tarot does is it says, look at these hints. Now, take these hints and sort of look around at what's going on in your life and which pegboard of your life, in which zone, as you look around the room, do you think you would want to nail this reading up to? Where does it make sense in this puzzle to put this reading? in the context of your life currently. And that's what tarot is. And then you say, oh, it belongs over here because I'm dealing with this and it resonates right here. Well, if you found that place, then that reading can come back into your thinking in the next day or two. And you go, oh yeah, I put that reading on that pegboard right there in this thing having to do with my family and my work and my own business. And it kind of makes me feel it makes me feel more secure if I just think about what the message of that reading is. And, you may think about the reading again, and you may come up with something I haven't come up with. You may see something I miss. My reading is only my reading. The rest of the reading is you and how you continue to interpret even the things I say right now, but also just the images that you remember and how those register with you 2, 3, 4, 5 days from now. So there you are. So I'm glad that you are able to find a place for this reading. That's what it is. That's tarot. You're welcome, Meridot. And Risika, you are still there in the queue as the next person. So you can ask or state your subject while I do my almost completely incompetent shuffling. Yeah, see? Look. Totally there. This spread is it's very simple, Meridot. It's 3 cards, and I simply call it the mountain peak. And it's just the middle card is just a little higher than the other 2. And it's the central aspect, the sort of big message of the reading. Then the left lower card is kind of an unconscious hint. And the right lower card is a more conscious suggestion for you to think about. It's sort of an attempt to kind of keep the tarot sort of rooted in that idea of what's in the unconscious slowly comes up and kind of starts to color what we do consciously. Okay, Risika. General read for July. Here we go. Yeah, July, because, July is always sort of a month of like, what am I going to do for July? It's summer now, and all sorts of, ideas. All right, Risika. Mountain Peak reading. Top. Where we're climbing to. Where we hope to reach. The primary message. Hanged Man reversed. All right. Let's read this straight up as a reversal from the Rider Waite. Normally, the Hanged Man, like so, is suggesting that we allow the time to just kind of... We're willing to kind of give up a little bit. We're willing to sort of sacrifice ourselves for something. And that can be simply to take the time to sort of figure out where we really stand, how we really feel about something. But we have to sort of humble ourselves. We have to kind of say, I'm not the big, my ego, My ego has to sit down and just be quiet for a while. My ego is driving me too much. The reversal is talking about some difficulty here, or it may be suggesting that actually this isn't such a difficulty. We recommend that you not necessarily try to behave in a way that, maybe you can afford to be a little bit more self-asserting. A little self-assertion might be required coming up in July. It might mean standing up for something that you want to do. The hanged man normally is willing to go with the flow, stay out of the picture, and just kind of wait, but this card is here the wrong way around to say, no, that's not quite right. That's not really, you may sort of feel obligated to do that. That may be something you've been trying to do quite often, is sort of lie low and stay out of the picture and maybe let things sort of happen around you. Now is not the time, really. Now's the time to say, no. Here is what I want to do. I've decided I don't need to hang upside down by my ankle anymore. I'm ready. That's what that card is saying. Now, here, well, so you have the world. The unconscious sort of suggestion here, the hint, is this sense of fullness. In other words, oh my God, I'm there. It's me. I can be myself finally. I can actually be me. And it's so much fun. I'm actually spinning around and dancing in my best shoes here. This is, I didn't even expect how great this would feel. This is the unconscious hint. This is where your unconscious mind is pushing you. This feeling of really being you. Now that underpinning this main central message of it may be time for the caterpillar to emerge as the butterfly. Stop hanging from the tree branch and doing your thing in the pod. It's time to break it out now and show your wings. Okay? That's all about the world also. So this is percolating underneath, and it's trying to come out. This whole you trying to bust out of some cocoon. Look, it even looks like a cocoon. Like ready to bust out, right? So then you have the 8 again of swords has made an appearance for the second time tonight. Let's think, okay, and this is the conscious hint, what to look out for, what to be aware of and think about. And it's that being tied to the same damn thought, the same way of doing things that you did before, the same mind-numbing routine, and you're just trapped in it. You've never found a way out of it. Well, this reading is showing there's an enormous amount of energy ready to burst out of it. This world, this is the 21. Okay? The 21 card is the final rite of passage in the tarot of the major arcana. It is the card that represents the end of the fool's journey. And the fool having arrived here at full integration of self, full awareness of self. It's almost like the suggestion in Buddhism of seeing nirvana, of understanding what reality is. That's what this world card is really aiming at. And if this is an unconscious, if this is something coming up through you trying to express itself, it's going to overpower everything else in this reading, and certainly will remove the binds that are a result of being stuck in kind of old, repetitive ways of thinking or dealing with things. It's time for something new. The time for hanging around and waiting and being sort of meek, those days are ending. Hi, Peach Penku. Peach Penku. So, Risika, the big deal in this reading is the World card. And pay attention to that. Very, very sort of the hints that come through in dreams, hinting at that world, that full expression of being you and how much fun it is. Be you for July. Yep. Be you, and wherever this applies, wherever it is you may have been holding back and being kind of like a quiet little person, it's very quite possible that it's time to state your true self, your true intentions. And you'll end up over here being able to move this 8 from restriction into the enjoyment of perfection that the 8 of numerology always wants to attain. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Quiet person, you're home. Okay, well, nothing wrong with that. And that may continue, but it's saying that there's something. There's some place here in this July where you can no longer be meek and quiet, and you can state your business, and this urge to really express your true self, the center, what you really want to be doing in July. Letting it out, letting it express itself, it'll free you and remove your thoughts that keep you down, keep you sort of tied up a little bit. So, I mean, look, Quiet with Dreams of Being a Dragon. What a great title. You know, that's a good title for a novel. Quiet with Dreams of Being a Dragon. You could write a book with that as the title. You realize that, right? You know? If you write that book and it has that title, I will buy it. That's right. You told me you had a dragon deck. Yep. Dragon deck. I got to look for that. I got so busy. I haven't been able to look at any tarot decks for the last few days. I got busy with like figuring out light stuff and, you know, dealing with that. Because it's like, I don't want to stream and like annoy people with dim light where they can't see anything. I had really dim light over here on the cards when a couple weeks ago. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, that's not fair to people. They can hardly even see the cards. What am I do? That's not going to work. So, but I did the thing where I have a light over here for the cards. Then I have this light up here just as a main light. And then I have a light over here. And then I have a light like back here. Like, because they always say you should have a light sort of coming from the back. Oh, you did? Well, no, it was just me like not being ready. I was just, yeah, dramatic. I mean, uh, I may try. I could try to do dramatic lighting, but still, there has to be a bright part that's lit. You know, the other parts can be dark. In fact, I don't always know how people do it. Like I see some people who do videos and they get just their face bright and the back is like really dark with like some nice like colors or something. And I swear I don't know how they're doing it. Because if you turn a bright light on for your face, doesn't it light the rest of the room? I don't know how they do this. They must use exposure settings on the camera or something to, I don't know. It just seems almost impossible. But people are getting really good on video. If you look on YouTube, not necessarily streamers on Twitch, but if you go to YouTube and look at people, they're getting really good with light. People are like figuring this out, man. Nobody used to know this stuff. Just like 5 years ago, only professional photographers knew this stuff. Now everybody's like able to light scenes like brilliantly. Okay, yeah, toddler. Yes, well, that's always an adventure, putting a toddler to bed. I've been through that. Yeah, I remember those. So yeah, I guess what the point I was starting to make was by switching to the Rider Waite tonight, I'm often hesitant to do that because of so much work with this deck, the Tarot de Marseille, and its very abstracted number cards. Oh man, a 2 and a 4-year-old, they're like almost demonic at those ages. But 2 is where really, 2 is actually great because 2-year-olds start to show their personality. It starts to emerge right around there is what I noticed. It starts to crystallize. And then 4-year-olds, of course, start getting rambunctious. They can 4-year-olds can tear down the inside of an entire house. This shuffling going on. The thing I repeat about tarot decks is that when you shuffle the deck, this big old stack of 78 cards, whatever arrangement or order comes out after your shuffle has never existed before in all of history. Look it up. It's a mathematical fact. Google that. You'll never look at tarot the same way again after you read about that. The Rhinosaur. All right. I like that name. I'm going to jump right in on this Rhinosaur. And we're going to get the deck right there ready. And the Rhinosaur is now in the house. So Rhinosaur, all you have to do is state your subject matter, whatever it is you're curious about. Hello. Tonight, I'm using the Rider-Waite-Smith deck instead of the Tarot of Marseille. I'm not sure why, it's just because I got interested in it. A Soundgarden song. Oh, Soundgarden. They're great. Yeah, I always leave Soundgarden on when it comes on in the car. I don't know much about them. So you go ahead and pick your subject. I've shuffled quite a bit, so all I'll have to do is break the deck a couple times, and then I'll use what's called the Mountain Peak spread. Are you having lag? Are you having like video lag? Is that what you mean? Oh, yeah. I mean, you never know. Internet is one of those, it's hard to say what happens when Twitch does that. I was just saying, if it was frozen, I was saying just pick your subject. Ah. Well, let's talk about trust. Obviously, there's some sort of a personal relationship here, and you're perhaps not entirely familiar. You don't fully know the person. And so, we all ask these questions about who we trust ourselves with someone, trust our feelings with them. It's usually sort of what's going on. And the tarot is basically going to give hints, things to say, hey, keep this in mind. Let this sort of color how you think about this. Let's look at what the Mountain Peak is showing us. This is what really sort of sticks out. Page of Pentacles. All right. What are, and it's reversed, but what are pages? The pages are young, they're enthusiastic. There's a physical quality to the coin suit, the Pentacles suit. And the page is very curious, very sort of interested to know more. The reversal is saying that there's possibly a lack of innocent enjoyment. And we're talking about the physical level. It could mean money. Chances are, since we're dealing with trust and feelings. I mean, it could still have to do with money because it does play a role in relationships. But there's something going on around this subject you're inquiring about that is not entirely enthusiastic and innocent. There's perhaps a little bit more confusion about which way to go, but it could also indicate that the page is very communicative. The page is also a messenger. So if there's something not being said, the page right side up wouldn't be not saying it. The page would say it. If the page is reversed, then the page isn't quite saying it. It's not saying all of it. The page is showing more reserved colors here than a page normally would. A page normally is just open and like, whatever, yeah, this is me, and what you see is what you get. That's what a page is. So page reversed is, something is not entirely visible, which could explain why you're asking the question in the first place. If you have a sense of whether or not you can trust someone, then of course the page comes out reversed. It seems to me. It makes sense. Let's look at sort of an unconscious hint. 3 of Pentacle, another pentacle. And for the second time tonight, the 3 of Pentacles shows up. 3 of Pentacles reversed. Something is not being shared. This is reinforcing this. See, this card right side up implies a skilled worker or a craftsman working on something, perhaps an artistic expression. Maybe he's chiseling a fine set of prayers or something in the church wall, but he's communicating with people that are working with him, or at least they're asking him about it, and he's pausing to exchange information while he works. So his work, his actions in the physical world, his efforts are enhanced or include, at the very least, this interaction with other people. But reversed, it means that there is something, there's a disconnect going on, and you are not actually working cohesively with others and sharing things in a fully open manner with others. And it has to do with something physical or financial. It has to do with things that you need. And something's not being said. Someone's not entirely innocent and enthusiastic to just learn and pursue whatever it is. And there's a breakdown of communication and being able to clear up things and take the right action based upon shared information. Okay? Something's not known. Now, conscious self. Okay. Conscious 3 of Wands pops up. The Wands are the instinct, the passion, the fire in a relationship. What drives you to be near someone? What drives you to find creative ways to make the relationship grow? All of that passion is expressed in the fire element of Wands. And the 3 is the number of at least preparing to take action based upon your plans. So this person here is standing out watching a fleet of ships, and this person has probably organized some sort of an event with the boats. and they're up on the hill and they're in charge and they're signaling, or they're saying, yes, the moment has arrived, go into the harbor, or, whatever. But there's definitely the idea here of mastery of the situation and having taken action, which has broad application. And there's a long view here. He's looking out over a bay of some kind, and he's very much sort of looking out and going, surveying what he is about to do or is in the process of doing. The 3 is always the number of action. But what the card is suggesting there as a conscious thing to think about is pause. Pause. Don't necessarily go forward quickly with your plans, with your, with the joining together of the 2 card, the coupling of the 2 card, that expression of things coming together, either in unity or conflict, but they're coming together, meeting for some reason. The 3 is then the exploding into action and seeing what's involved in actually putting things into effect. And the card upside down is saying they're not going into effect yet. Be careful. Don't put them into effect yet. You need to observe a little bit. You need to survey a little more before you actually pursue the active element. Something's not being expressed is what the cards are saying. Something's not being fully, enthusiastically, and openly shared. And therefore, be careful and take that little slow steps. It's a reading of be careful because there's something you don't know. And it could mean anything like that, but there's something. And look, that's usually pretty reasonable thing to assume early on, really, when you're getting to know anyone. Even when you're getting to know someone who's streaming, for goodness sake. Go slow. Don't necessarily trust everything they say. You don't know if somebody's full of nonsense or not. You have to kind of watch and listen with sort of you have to have a little bit of distance and sort of say, well, okay, it's over a few days. What this person is saying is sort of ringing true, or it's not. And this reading is asking you to think about how you might proceed gradually and not make any sudden steps forward until you are convinced that everything is being expressed to you, because something here is not being expressed. I swear, when I read tarot, I go through these stupid things one after another. I'm almost out. I'm going to have to go to the fridge and get another one because I get thirsty. I get really thirsty, man, because I'm just, man. Maybe I have to make my reading shorter. But I hope that helps to some degree. Rhinosaur, because I know the feeling of wondering. If you're free, if your stream froze again, Rhinosaur, I wonder if you missed all of that. I can't tell. Everyone. Vroom, vroom. I'm going to have to go. I got to get another can of water. Hold on. I'm so thirsty. I'll be right back. I'm not ending. I'm just running to the fridge. I'll be right back. Okay. You're welcome, Rhinosaur. Now, what you do with that information, I mean, I just hope it plays out very well for you and you have absolutely no reason to not trust someone and you end up having a great, great time. Oh, this one's cold too. This is good. Man, I'm so addicted to sparkling water. It's okay though, because this is that bubbly stuff they make. You know, this is like really like, but you'd think it wouldn't, you'd think this stuff would not be really good. In other words, it wouldn't be good for you. They'd have something bad in it, but they don't. It's zero all the way down the line. Zero everything. Calories, zero fat, zero sodium, zero sugars. Zip, zip, zip. That's why I drink this stuff. It's like there's nothing in here. Oh, McDonald's nuggets? Is that McDonald's nuggets or like regular nuggets? Because one thing I know, all the kids I've known, not McDonald's. Oh, because every time I've ever been to a drive-through with kids in the car, they're always like, I want the chicken McNuggets. In fact, I went myself today to the McDonald's drive-through for lunch. Oh, in the air fryer. Oh, right. But I bet you could put McDonald's nuggets in the air fryer too. I bet they'd work. They'd probably end up better. Because frankly, McDonald's nuggets are kind of bland. I think they have a spicy version, but they're always kind of bland. Oh, you have? I bet they're better, right? Because they're kind of mushy sometimes from McDonald's. Today, I did the Big Mac combo meal with a large coffee. It's always kind of a fun lunch. If I'm really busy with things and I'm like, oh, you know what? The hell with it. I'm just going to the drive-through. I'm going to get McDonald's. I don't care. I don't care if it's good for me. I've eaten healthy for like 3 weeks. It's like, nobody argue with me. I'm going. Oh, yeah, it does. Leftover pizza works really well. Yeah, normally I just don't even eat leftovers, but pizza I do. Oh, let me make sure oh yeah, my music is playing. Like the other night I had my music playing and then at some point it crashed. The music player just stopped for some reason. This new light, I'm amazed because, wow, there's no heat. I'm putting my hand up to feel there's no heat. It's really great for that. One thing I hate is hot lights. Ooh, chocolate cream pie. Huh. Well. Yeah. What was it I had? I was at a Polish restaurant about 3.5 weeks ago. And I had steak tartare. I had kielbasa sausage. And they do these things on little platter, and like the kielbasa sausage, they grill it. They sort of make it like singed, and then they give you like chopped up pickles. There's fried onions, mustard. And so you cut the sausage, you dip it in the mustard, you put pickles on it and the onions and everything. And then steak tartare, there's like a fried egg in there, and there's all kinds of little lettuce and vegetables and onions and things you mix in with that. And so I had that, and it was really good. And then I had dessert, and it was an apple it was an apple crisp wafer with vanilla ice cream or something. So it was like baked apple slices with like thick appley sauce with like a wafer cookie underneath, and then a big pile of really like good vanilla ice cream on top. Ooh, man, that was good. I usually don't get dessert because I just wanted to have the meal at a restaurant, and I don't want all the sugar, But I did, and man, that was just incredibly good. Yeah, kielbasa is really fun. Yeah, so this restaurant here they have, and they've got like a very sort of like, when you're inside, it's like you're in a house. But when you're outside, they have a whole area with a bar outside and tables and everything, and like awnings and bushes, and it's really nice. And they sometimes show movies like on a wall on the outside area. I always sit in the outside part, and it's like a totally Polish restaurant, and kielbasa is like one of their main things that they have there. And I actually went to Poland a few years ago, and I was in Krakow, and they have a big square in Krakow, open square with lots of cafes around the edge of it. And they have beef tartare there at these restaurants. And that's where I first had, I think, my very first beef tartare. And it was so damn good there. Ooh. And I was like, raw? Really? It's raw meat? And I was like, wow, this is actually really good. It has to be super high quality beef to be used in steak tartare. Otherwise, it doesn't work. It has to be really high quality. You should do that, man. You have to go to Paris. Got to see Paris. Tokyo. I've never been to Japan, but I've been to Paris. One of the best memories ever of my life being in Paris. Just absolutely stunning. Yeah. And one story I tell about sort of the difference between Americans and French people is one night, when I was a kid, I had built a model of a building in Paris called the Pantheon. And it's a historic landmark in Paris. And as a kid, I looked at photographs, and for a school project, I chose the Pantheon, and I made this model and we were doing a model with of Paris for a huge table thing as a school project. And I loved making that model. So when I went to Paris as an adult, I wanted to go and find the Pantheon. And one night I was alone, and I decided, I think I know where the Pantheon is. So I'm going to walk there so I can see it. and I got, this was before GPS phones. I just went off walking. I think I might have had a fold up paper map with me. I went walking and I got lost. And it was like 2 a.m. And I was like, oh, shoot. And so I'm stumbling around and this French woman appears. And I'm like, oh, God, I can't walk up to her and ask directions at 2 a.m. What the hell, man? But I was like, well, I'm lost. So I was just like, excusez-moi. And she's like, oui. And I said, Le Panthéon? And she's like, oh. And she goes, go, come, follow me. And so at like 2 a.m, this woman leads me through these windy streets of Paris all the way. And I was really lost. So she took her a while. And she goes, voila. And there's the Pantheon in front of me. And I'm like, oh. And she stands there with me. And so I walk around and she takes me around like to look at it from different angles. And she's trying to tell me a little bit about it. And then she's like, also like, was like, okay, here's how you get back. Where's your hotel? And I was like, I'm like, okay, it's called I think it was the American. And she's like, okay, so here's how you have to go. She's like, shows me on the map. Today, of course, this wouldn't happen now, with your phone. And so I was like, wow. And then she was like, bonne nuit. And I was like, man, that just wouldn't happen in America. That just wouldn't happen. Nobody would take you through the streets of New York for 2 hours to show you a damn building. They would be like, what? Get away from me. Bye-bye. It just wouldn't happen. But the French are just different. Yeah. Oh, Ash by Frost. Ash by Frost. You're in the queue and you are up. I see you there. So Ash by Frost, what you do is you just state your subject. And yes, exactly. That's how you shake like a... Is that a little bulldog? Oh, yeah, dancing pug. Okay, there you go. So you just tell me what it is you're interested in hearing a little more about, I guess, and the tarot cards will do the rest. A dancing pug. And meanwhile, while you're thinking about your subject, I'm shuffling. Yeah. Oh, yeah. General life reading. The tarot is going to give you kind of a general life reading that it has a, it has sort of a window on kind of like the present near term. Basically sort of saying to you, hey, here are things to sort of ponder, and that might give you some ideas for guidance starting now. Well, Risika, then that's a card that it wants you, or you want somehow secretly in your hidden mind to think about. All right, Ash, I'm getting ready. I'm going to cut the deck a final time. And we're going to pull the 3 cards for our nice little mountain peak spread. The peak or summit being right here in the middle. This is the main signal of the reading. The high point, what the reading wants us to be most conscious of. 9 of Wands. Now, you may know that wands represent the fire, the passion, the instinct, the impelling force to do and create whatever it is we happen to be doing. Whatever we want to apply our energy to, that is that drive, that movement toward what we seek. That is the fire element of the wands. It's a powerful, powerful drive toward any kind of creativity. It's a powerful force in a relationship. It helps you build things. It's enormously useful in your work. And the 9, you have someone who, first of all, he's surrounded by the power of their passion, of their instincts, their drives, their creative energy. But they're also kind of damaged. They're kind of hurt. They've got a bandage around their head, for goodness sake. And they look slightly doubtful. Well, the explanation for that lies in numerology of the 9. The 9 being the complex and contradictory number of high spiritual attainment, but also the required perseverance in order to reach completion of something you're trying to accomplish. In order to get to the goal line, the last big push that seems almost impossible, that tires you out, and you can see the person's bedraggled. They're leaning on one of the sticks, and they have a bandage around their head. Those are the wounds of battle. Those are the wounds that you acquire while pursuing your goal, while trying to accomplish something that's profoundly important to you. So this 9 requires more perseverance and effort. Now, we're not talking about something life-shattering here because it's a number card. So remember, the number cards in the tarot are always somewhat like, they kind of look at my hand like going like little waves. They're in and out like the tide each day, okay? They sort of, it might be this way for a day or two or a week, and then it shifts again the following Monday. That's why it's a number card. So there's something that the cards are suggesting that you are trying to accomplish, maybe an overall goal or a hope or something you want to get or something you want to be. You have dreams of being this something. And the efforts you've put in so far, frankly, it's been hard. It's a hard path. And it leaves you sometimes exhausted and wondering if you should even be doing it. But the 9 means, yes, you most certainly should, because you've learned an enormous amount along the way. You actually have all these skills. That's why they're all lined up behind you. They're all right there ready to go to work for you. You're just tired. And you just need to take this moment to pause and reflect on the fact that, okay, yes, I have to take a deep breath and make the final great effort. That's what the reading wants you to be most conscious of right now. Now, what the reading is saying is kind of lying underneath and maybe informing you through dreams, through processes you're not entirely aware of, is the Chariot reversed. The Chariot's an extremely complicated card because it implies a person of action and command. But in fact, this person is in a chariot that's not even being pulled. The animals are sitting down. It's almost like the animals have decided, we're on coffee break, pal. We're not pulling you diddly. We're not doing anything right now until we darn well feel like it. And you're going to have to wait. So your command isn't all that, bud. Right? That's what the card suggests. Now, reversed, no, but don't get me wrong. It has that element in it, but it's still about overall a person whose ego is very large in their life and persona, and they communicate that ego, and they do often at least attempt to be a person of authority and command, and they do celebrate and get celebrated for success. They tend to lean toward having success, and they can take charge, okay? There are contradictions there. And the contradictions really with this tarot mean that they sometimes push it too far. And so the animals sit down and resist and various things, but it also implies that they have an innate ability to control the animal nature in themselves, the more unpredictable qualities around them in the world, the more animalistic elements. And they're able to sort of tame and control them, because that's another way of looking at the fact that the animals are sitting down. Not that they're just quitting and on a coffee break, but they've been domesticated. So there's another form of success here. There's success of sort of dominating things that otherwise might be very difficult to control and that other people would fail at. But reversed, the card implies letting go and not being too concerned with taking charge in every situation. Perhaps there's a situation coming up where you're going to need to take a lower track, a gentler approach, and not seek for victory, but something else may be more important in whatever this is. Let's look over here on the more conscious advice. And what do you have? You have almost the diametric opposite of the Chariot. You have the Fool. So you've got two major cards here, both as the foundations of the primary message, which is just a number card. So that suggests that the number card is a transitional time that's not particularly significant in life and will change rather rapidly. You will be able to persevere in whatever it is you're trying to achieve in the shorter term because you have these things underlying in your personality. And the Fool is what the reading is saying, hey, keep this in mind. Keep this right in front of you sort of as a goal, and that is to maintain your essential nature of always approaching even the most difficult possible circumstances, projects, goals. Approach them with all of that enthusiasm that you know is part of you. There's almost a childlike enthusiasm, and if you just stay aware of that, support it, don't let it die, don't let this difficulty here and your exhaustion defeat your essential nature, which is the Fool goes out and wants to do things even if they're dangerous and even if there's all sorts of risk involved, and other people of better sense would be like, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? The Fool is kind of inexperienced and is willing to sort of just go out and experience it to learn. And of course has a companion, the dog, and the dog here is, he's playing or he's warning. He's trying to prevent the Fool from stepping off a cliff. One way or another, the Fool has a companion. The companion is there to travel with him. It's part of his nature to go with this. The fool makes friends easily. The animal world, look, there's animals in both cards. There's the animals that have been domesticated here in a more forceful manner by a rather overbearing ego. And over here, there's a fool who simply is attractive due to his very nature to the dog, and the dog will follow the fool wherever he goes without the fool ever insisting. The fool is just an attractor, not a force. The fool is an attractor because of their very nature. And their nature's always enthusiastic, kind of, they let things that get people down kind of roll off their backs. Sometimes they're kind of oblivious. And the cards are saying, keep that part of you central. Make that your thing for a while. Don't be foolish, but be the fool. Be the kind of carefree, enthusiastic, always wanting to experience more and learn more. Be that. And then that's going to require some dropping of maybe some ego self-protection mechanisms that are going on, a little defensive qualities maybe here. And then you will find energy to break through this exhaustion and actually finish something that seems to be waiting for you to finally tackle. That's the basic idea, Ash, of this reading. The card, good. The card it wants you to really remember and keep your eye on is that fool. And look how cheerful. Look at the fool. Look at that. This person has everything they need. Look how they're even dressed. They're dressed like to celebrate just being there. Very important quality to remember. The tarot has that wonderful thing about reminding us constantly to enjoy life, to enjoy who we are. It's not always easy to do. I can't do it. I can only do it sometimes. It's not an easy thing. It can be much more. If it were easy, then Buddhists would all reach nirvana overnight. People can try for years to get sort of a sense of what it's like to be the fool. They can try for years and try to overcome all sorts of things to get there. Meditation, religion, reading poetry, going out and riding zip lines, and all those things, whatever, to get yourself sort of in the moment, basically. The fool is in the moment. They're in the absolute present moment. That's why they can be standing right at the edge of a cliff, and they're not really worried about the next step. They're in the absolute present moment. That's what that represents. Another aspect of the fool is, the idea that the fool is on a journey through the major arcana cards of the tarot all the way up to 21, the world, full self-integration. However, my little twist on that is the fool may already, in the 0 position at the very beginning of the tarot, may in fact already have everything they need. And that everything else, the journey through the tarot, is really just a reminder of what they already started with. And when they get to the World card in the 21st position, they're actually just finally able to see their true self in the mirror again. But they was there all along, right from the very first card. And that is how I connect tarot to Buddhism. It just works for me. To manifest a card. What does it mean to manifest a card? Well, what it suggests to me is that you kind of try to be the card. You kind of try to take the card and do something in your life that is like what you imagine the character described by the card would do or be like. I think. It's like being influenced by a character in a movie and sort of wanting to be like them and manifest that character. It's actually probably a good idea to try to manifest once in a while. You know, unless you're talking about like manifesting the devil cards. I wouldn't, but you could even manifest that because you could say, well, the devil card has an aspect to it of, you know, there can be certain qualities of the devil card that are inspirational in that you go down into your darkness in order to mine it for possible value. And it can, in fact, if you're doing something artistic, mining the depths of your persona or your soul you can dredge up things and use them for positive, for creative purposes. So you could manifest certain aspects even of the devil card in order to do that. Confusing clarification card, and the streamer asked if the person was manifesting that card. So they're asking the person if they were perhaps doing something that was sort of like what the card was. I guess I can see why they would ask that. So the reader was probably trying to get clarification for themselves about how to apply the card to the person. So they say, well, is it possible that you're doing something in your life that reminds you of this weird card that seems to have popped up for no good reason? Yeah. Because that happens sometimes, that you'll be doing a reading and then some card will show up that seems to contradict everything you've just said. And it could just be that the card is saying, well, here's another possibility. It's possible that it goes this way instead. You know, hard to tell unless you're actually watching that person's reading. It's, you just hard to tell what they actually meant by manifesting. But I think in general, that's how the word is used, that you kind of are trying to do something like something else. Your actions suggest that card. So, and that would be manifesting the card. So like if the Fool came up and you went dancing along the edge of a wall a little recklessly, you'd be manifesting the Fool. This is my guess about how the person meant to use the word. I'm going to close the window. I hear music. Hold on. There. Shut them out. There's like a window nearby where they leave their window wide open and blast, like, I think it's TV, like straight out the window. It's weird. Their room must be set up so that the window is like directly in front of where the TV is. And it just gets so obnoxious sometimes. You can't open your own window for any air. You just get this. Yeah, it's kind of nice to switch over to the Rider Waite. It's a nice little change of, I don't know, it's just, sometimes I get a little tired of looking at the number cards in the Tarot of Marseille. They get kind of boring. Angelic. trying to look at the origin of manifest. It gives a complete and then how it's used, like the creation meaning, not just, creation. It's derived from the Italian word manifesto. It's self-derived from the Latin manifestum, meaning clear or conspicuous. So, if you manifest something, if you manifest definition, clear or obvious to the eye or mind, display or show a quality or feeling by one's acts or appearance, demonstrate. Yeah. So if you show some quality and do something, some action similar to what a card is suggesting, then I suppose it makes sense to say you're manifesting the card. I'm thinking. Earlier tonight, just before getting on stream, I was watching role players. There's a particular role player I watch occasionally who streams from their game world where they role play. And I've noticed that she's been bouncing around from one server to another to do this role play. Sometimes she'll be on a server for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then she'll suddenly be on another server. And just recently I was taken by surprise because she was on another server. And then literally like 4 days later now she's on another server doing her role play. And apparently there was some drama because she was talking on her stream to someone in the chat saying that, oh yeah, something happened. It's been really negative and it's been a really hard few days. I'm not going to get into it, but really someone just was really kind of really made things very unpleasant. And then someone in chat said, yeah, sounds about right for role play. And I was like, so these weird dramas must happen in the role play world that make players leave one server and switch and go looking for another one. It was just interesting because of the role play universe, but the little problems people get into with each other. I guess people mess up their role play or decide that things should turn out a certain way and they get mad if they don't. They want to control how a storyline goes. Maybe that's sort of what happens. And I'm not really sure because I haven't really experienced it. But it caught my interest because I'm interested in general in the whole role play thing. And I don't know. I've noticed a lot of role players, they don't engage in drama with other people. Everything seems to run very smoothly. But then some people are constantly getting into weird situations and giving up and going elsewhere. And I'm like, what is this very interesting sort of social observation, I think, that can be done with role players. Yeah, it's like Yeah. So if emotional things happen, people are very invested in their role play or their character or their storyline. And if something goes on that's very intense and maybe goes the wrong way, they may feel like they've been abandoned or something. I don't know. But it seems like some people are more prone to this issue than others. And it's very, very interesting to see when people have this kind of weird breakdown. Yeah, take it personally. I know. I think that's true. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess you really shouldn't take role play personally. You should be very I think what happens probably is they do things they get upset in role play and then they go to the Discord for that server and they start complaining and they get into arguments on the Discord with people involved and it probably has a whole life of its own there and goes back and forth all day long, and then somebody gets really angry and says, "I'm out of here." So they can disconnect, in other words, and distinguish between themselves and the role play very easily. I think that's what you mean. Neurodivergent people. Yes, the weird ones who act and play, not the normal ones who do the other types of daily leisurely activities like competing or battles. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it might require some neurodivergence in order to really act well. I never thought about that. 21 universe. It's also called the world. Um, yep. There it is. That damn card. Telling you, man. That energy. The big message. The internal message to be thyself. To know thyself. It's not always easy. How old would you guess I was from like how I have a view on things, lol, and understanding? Just it came up in my reading with you. Yeah, and here and the number 21 came up earlier. Oh my god. Okay, well, then all signs are pointed toward the world universe card for you. Clearly. Angelic, I have no idea. I have no idea how old anyone is. I don't know. It's yes, you were from having a view on things and understanding. Let me see. 20. 30. 30. Into oh, okay. Huh. You're just like you're a young kind of sensitive to subtle inputs and curious about all sort of a wide array of things. I'm sort of guessing. I mean, you have like, if you have time, you have like a whole you have the whole tarot to work through, basically, in your life. You have the whole journey just starting for you. Oh, you're saying my intuition for I was first wanted to say 20. Yeah. I know. But I stopped myself because I was like, oh, I think angelic is like, she's trying to trick me somehow. So I was like, okay, I'll just say 30 because it might be a safer number. But yeah, you're right. So my initial little instinct was better. Yep. Enjoy the pie. It sounds like it's going to be great. You have a wonderful night too. Yeah, well, what I've done so far, Risika, is I've decided to stream for sure on Mondays and Wednesdays in the evening, but I'm going to do others here and there in addition to that. I just am not quite sure when. So the minimum I'm going to do is Monday and Wednesday. Because it's usually pretty easy to do tarot streaming on a Monday evening and a Wednesday, I find, for me, with my schedule. But I can throw in Friday. I can throw in even a Saturday. And, that's what I'll do. I'll just sort of do those as I'll just sort of make those up on the fly. That's my second full can while reading tarot. Second full can of this lime stuff. Darth, hi. Yeah, it's going well. It's been a nice set of readings, I got to say. I mean, when you read tarot, it's like you can't not have a good evening. You just can't. It's better than watching TV, It's just... Okay, Risika, on Monday then, for sure. Absolutely. And angelic, you feel like it's your third go round through the journey. Failed the first two. See, you know what? You fail the first two times, you can fail more times than that, and you're still good, you know? Yeah, Darth, you know, tarot, like, you can, because you don't know what's going to come, and you don't know the stories that are going to happen. So it's better than stories, really, that you can be watching. It's like they just come out of thin air when you're doing the tarot, and it's like you just can't beat it. Yeah. Maybe writers should use tarot as, like, you know, my next chapter. Let me pull a card for the next chapter I'm going to try to write. What's the hint this card's giving me about how to start my chapter? Stuff like that might be interesting. Depends on the writer, of course. I found a novel recently that tarot is featured in. I think the title, it was written in like the early 30s, 1930s. And I think the title, it's called The Major Cards. I think that's what it's called, The Major. And it's kind of a weird book. I started reading it. It starts off in a weird, weird way. Like the way people talk to each other is like, what the heck? You had a massive, huge ancestry deep dive. Your roots may go to Scythia, of which you've never known about, but has influenced loads, still just no Western research on it. Wow. You were talking about ancestry a few nights ago. Wow. Horse riding people. Yeah, but that quality, you sit down to do an evening of tarot readings, and you have no idea where the stories are going to go. You have no idea what's coming. That's what's so great about. That's why I like doing these streams. It's like you don't know how the pages are going to turn when you sit down and start. You have no idea. And I've started sort of sitting down without any plan. Like just sitting. My only plan today was just put down the Rider Waite tarot next to the Tarot de Marseille here, and this one, and just start comparing them, and it's fun. And then of course the readings, because I switched decks today to this one, the readings start coming out with a little bit of a different, for me, the tone is just a little different. And yeah, so let's see. I'm going to stream for about another 15 minutes. So anyone who wants a reading, hit the cue, and I will give it the shuffle try. But yeah, your gran was able to manually make a tree in 1990 back to 1800s. Okay, a family tree, yeah, where the Pictish people lived before Christian influence. Yeah, the Pict men were painted warriors. Wow. Gaelic women from Celts who started the Scottish clans. You're going way back in time there. Yep. Yep. Yeah, I have a family member who gets into doing all of that genealogy stuff and building the ancestry tree. And there are really interesting things in there. And the people that you're related to can be astonishing when you do this kind of work. What you find out can really, you'd be like, oh, no way. There's no way I'm related to that person. But those genealogy, genes don't lie. Well, Angelic, it sounds like you're having a lot of fun doing the, looking back into these ancestor histories. It's really fascinating. Yeah, people changing names and stuff makes things complicated. I pulled just one card, sort of as a evening finisher. And the point is to look at it right side up, just to get the basic meaning of the card. And it's the Six of Pentacles. And it's very much about community and sharing and enjoying things together with other people. Everybody kind of having a good time doing it. And it's actually a great card for a stream because it sort of does express how I view the stream and the group that comes in and the talk and the back and forth. It's very, that it kind of has that quality. It's like, so the tarot thing seems to sort of bring a good group together one way or another, and the group kind of works across the various streamers in the tarot category. They're all sort of doing things regarding tarot, and it pulls people together in a way, and they start talking. And I'm sure that most of the people that come in here, they know a lot more than I do about all the other streamers and how things work, and so that's nice, because it's like it's an overall group, I suspect, in the tarot category of people who are kind of they move and they visit the different people when they come online, and they share stuff and they talk about things, and so it has a good feel to it. And the 6 card there really points that up. It's what it's all about. Second can is almost empty. So I think what I'll do is I'll probably close the little tarot shop for the night. And I'm for sure going to stream again on Monday. But I'm also that's scheduled. I put that on my actual schedule. But I'm probably going to do a stream again, probably on Friday night. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, the sharing. Yeah, yeah, the balance. Yeah, yep. That's right. So I'll wind it down. And again, thank you, everyone that came by tonight. Really fun. Good set of readings. Some interesting little, what do they call them? Synchronicities going on with, I think, the World card. Really fascinating. And fun to use the Rider-Waite Smith deck for tonight. So I'll probably continue using it for a while. Just these things, the interests sort of go here and there, All right, so I'll wind down now, and have a great night, and I will be back most likely on Friday. If not, for sure on Monday. Okay, so everybody have an excellent night or day.